There's a cool breeze, and it's quiet in the valley. Nellie lies awake in her bed as the sun peeks up above the horizon, spilling rays of orange and yellow onto her bed sheets. She closes her eyes and wiggles her toes, excited for the day. It's time, she whispers quietly to herself. She stretches one big long stretch and yawns one big long yawn and springs from her bed. Her younger sister Ray was still sound asleep. Nellie ran over to Ray's bed and jumped right on top of her. Ray, Ray, rise and shine. It's time to wake up. Look, the sun is up, so that means you should be up too. Nellie grabbed Ray's shoulders and began shaking her up and down. Ray's eyes snapped open, her small and pale frame immediately convulsing as she let out a big sneeze. Nellie should be grossed out, but Ray sneezes and coughs so often that Nellie has grown accustomed to her sister's ailments. Don't you know what day it is? Nellie asks. She cups her face in her hands and smiles. Well, it's your birthday, I think, Ray says. Correct, Nellie answers elatedly, rolling on the floor. And don't you know what is supposed to happen on this special day? Nellie squeals and claps quietly. I want to go to the quiet wood. Nellie, please, I don't want to go, Ray whines. I want to stay inside and read more stories. Nellie rolls her eyes and lies flat on the ground. She puts a flat of both of her palms over her eyes so that she can't see. But I'm tired of reading stories, Nellie says. We read the same ones over and over and over. I'm tired of them. Let's go somewhere. I know, but I can't walk very far, Ray says. Stories make me feel as though I can. Ray is whispering now. Her breath is rugged, like a popping bag of popcorn lives in her throat. Nellie springs right up and gestures wildly with her hands. Oh, but it's beautiful there, Ray. There are big giant trees that sing when the winds blow. There are flowers that make room for your footsteps. Me and you will be princesses there, just like in the stories. You'll fall in love with it. I dreamt about it last night. You and I were princesses, and we ruled over all the trees and the animals. We're meant to be the princesses of the quiet wood, Ray, at least for one day. Ray's eyes widened, afraid. She looked around as if someone could hear and whispered quietly. I had a dream last night, too. There was a boy, and there was a beast. Fire came out of his mouth, and he ran so fast. He was coming for us both, Nellie. I think if we go, we might meet the beast. I don't want to. I don't want to meet him. He was so much bigger than us. He was scary. Ray, Nellie exclaims quietly. You silly girl. Nothing and no one can ever hurt you. Not as long as I'm here to protect you. I promise, please, let's go. Do it for me. It's my birthday. Oh, all right, Ray answers. I suppose if we only stay for a little while, everything will be all right. Both of the girls quickly get dressed. As soon as they're both ready, Nellie walks over to her bed and carefully leans over to grab something from under her bed. She pulls out a blue backpack that looks stuffed with lots of mysterious objects. What's in there? Ray asks. Shh. Nellie presses a finger to Ray's lips and smiles. It's time, says Nellie. Let's go. Ray shrugs her shoulders and coughs. Okay, just as long as we don't stay long, she says again. You know I can't walk that far. I know, Nellie says. If you can't walk anymore, I'll just carry you, okay? Before Ray can respond, Nellie grabs Ray's hand and quickly tiptoes towards the door. They both inch out into the hallway, trying not to make a sound. Before they leave the room, Ray stops. Nellie turns around and whispers to her sister words of encouragement. Ray, you don't have to be afraid forever. She reaches her hand out for Ray to grab, and she gives her a half smile. We'll be okay, I promise. Ray gives one great big long sigh and nods her head. She takes Nellie's hand, and together the two of them embark on their adventure. At first, the walk to the quiet wood is wonderful. Nellie is elated just to be on her way to the place of her dreams, and Ray takes note of all of the beautiful flowers. But after a while, the trees begin to grow taller, barren, and scary. The flowers that lined the sidewalks before were replaced with long, scraggly weeds. The clouds veiled the sun, and the once beautiful scenery turned gloomy and gray. All of this begins to make Ray very nervous. I want to go home. Ray stopped walking and gestured for Nellie to stop. But Ray, we're almost there. Nellie pointed ahead to a brush of tall, beautiful trees that sprung up suddenly in the barren field that lay before it. We're almost exactly where we should be. It'll be worth it, I promise. Remember? Nellie places both of her hands on Ray's shoulders and squeezes. Ray's eyes begin to water and her lower lip begin to quiver. But I'm tired and I'm scared, Ray whispered. Nellie dried the tears that spilled out over Ray's eyes and assured her that everything would be okay. No more whispering, she says, and as long as I'm here, nothing bad will ever happen to you. Just as she says this, the both of them whip their heads in the direction of the quiet wood. They could hear someone coming. A boy, big, scary, and tall, approached them, and boy, did he look mean. He walked straight up to them and stopped. What are you two losers doing here? He sneered at them and spat at their feet. Ray immediately began to shake and closed her eyes. You two weirdos don't belong here. Leave. Leave or I'll call the beast, the boy said. Ray began to shake even more. The beast? Oh, Nellie, I told you, Ray whispered. The boy smiled and said, He's the biggest, scariest thing you've ever seen. If I call him, he'll come out and eat you alive. He'll eat you alive and bury your bones where no one will ever find them. No one will ever know that you existed. No one will hear your voices ever again. Big tears instantly started to flow down Ray's cheeks. Don't listen to him, Ray. He's lying to us, Nellie says. My sister and I will not be leaving until you do, she says. Today is my birthday, and on my birthday I do as I please. An evil smile formed on the corner of his lips, and he began to howl. Beast! Oh, beast! He cried out. I've caught some snacks for you. Ray began to shake all over. Before either of them knew what was happening, they could both see a big, strong, four-legged figure with leathery skin and bright red eyes breathing fire from its mouth running towards them from afar. They both knew it was a beast. Nellie feels something rise up within her belly. With a heat and a power that she had never felt before, Nellie stepped forward and punched the boy in the mouth with all of her might, and he fell to the ground. Before they could run away, before they left the quiet wood behind, Nellie spoke. She spoke to the beast, and it stopped in its track to listen to her. I'm going to be back one day, she cried out. I'm going to grow up, me and Ray both, and we'll be back. We're going to be stronger. I'll be taller, and Ray will be less afraid, and you will be no match for us. We will defeat you, and we will be the princesses of the quiet wood. Just you wait. Nellie turned to Ray, and they both began to run. They ran as fast as their legs could carry them, all the way back to their quiet little house. They both tiptoed back inside and quickly shut the door behind them. I'm sorry, Nellie whispered. We weren't ready yet. I'm sorry, she apologized. Nellie continued. But Ray, she exclaimed, you ran all by yourself. I didn't even need to carry you. Without speaking, Ray nodded as she quietly cried into Nellie's lap. I did, Ray said. Even though I was scared, I think I felt stronger because you were with me. We were together. Yes, Nellie says, and we always will be. And we can try again one day. I'll be taller and you'll be less afraid and we'll go back. She combs Ray's hair and smiles. We'll be grown up and strong. We won't have to be quiet forever. The quiet wood will have enough space so that we can be as loud as we want. We'll be the princesses, just like in books. Nellie grabs her blue backpack and takes out a notebook and pencil. But Ray, she says, let's write our own stories, she whispers. Let's write hundreds of stories and read them hundreds of times. And when we're ready, we'll take them and read them out loud in the quiet wood for all to hear.